Hello cooperators and corroborators, this is John Felix with Fnatics Road to Gold Part 9. How y'all doing? So, big day tomorrow. Fnatic is in the quarterfinals facing Edward Gaming. If we take a look at last week, second week of group stage, Fnatic did what I said they could do. They 3-0'd in that week, which was so important and got them that first seed of the groups. A first seed rewarding them with Edward Gaming. Yay. But it was nice to see Fnatic last week. They showed up against Cloud9, really put their foot down, showed who's boss. They did the same thing against IG once again. And then against AHQ, another tough game. Really hard, and yeah, the things that bothered me in their first game against AHQ were repeated. How Fnatic weren't able to really win in any lane. They weren't able to make easy picks or get fights in favorable positions, so it became this dance around key objectives like Baron, where both teams were just waiting for fights to start where the outcome would be either superb or catastrophic for both teams. So that was a really intense game to watch, and Febiven was so good that game. Man, he saved Fnatic's asses. No other way to say it. But things did work out fine, and yeah, here we are. Fnatic is going to face Edward Gaming in a quarterfinals. Now, going into Worlds, after the groups were drawn, EDG's group was such a kick in the face to all other groups, pretty much. That was a group with both SKT and EDG. Meaning that some winner of the other group would be rewarded with facing either EDG or SKT. Not very nice, but that's exactly what has happened to Fnatic, and it doesn't really feel all that grim as you thought it would going into Worlds. EDG, they've had some problems. I would like to start off with saying, though, that EDG is kind of a hard team to read right now, because looking at their group, they had SKT, H2K, and Bangkok Titans. Yeah, so against SKT, they lost twice. And they weren't even close to winning. And that's the thing that surprises people, and that's the thing that really makes people criticize EDG. The fact that the two finalists from MSI 2015 get to meet up in the group. The two teams that people thought were actually going to end up in the finals will meet each other already in the groups, and we'll get to see that matchup early on, and SKT just steamrolled. There was no problems for SKT right there. But then on the other hand, they played against H2K and Bangkok Titans, and they did exactly what they're supposed to do. Like, 4 pretty comfortable wins, I'd say, if I remember correctly. So, yeah, they did lose heavily to SKT. Big whoop. And they won pretty comfortably against H2K and Bangkok Titans. Some early game mistakes in at least one of the games against H2K, but they managed to repair that fairly quickly and came out on top. So, yeah. I don't know if their performance in groups really makes them out to be that big of a disappointment. Like, we wanted this super intense games between SKT and EDG. We didn't quite get them, but I don't think we can take away too much from EDG just from that fact. So if we look at these teams now and their rosters, things are very interesting, especially considering their top lane, but we will go from the bottom and up here when discussing these lane matchups. Okay, so we have down here Mako and Yellowstar, the support players. Fairly even matchup, I'd say. I don't know. I haven't followed EDG that thoroughly, so I really don't know who's the primary shot caller. I don't know how the roles are divided in that sense, but for Fnatic, Yellowstar is the primary shot caller, and for a tough best of 5 series, Yellowstar is the man of the hour. This is where he really needs to step up and bring those leadership skills to the table. He usually does. He usually does when it counts. So that's a real strong point for Yellowstar. Mako have made some mistakes during groups, but then again, so did Yellowstar. I mean, week 1 for the entire Fnatic roster, with the exception of Febvin, was not very good. So, yeah. But I'd say fairly even. And then we look at the other 2 players in this bot lane, and that is Deft on EDG side versus Reckless. 2 close friends outside of the Rift, it seems. But I'm sure they'll both do their best to bring their adversary down tomorrow. We see a huge difference here. I don't necessarily think we see a huge difference in skill when it comes to the 2 AD carries. Of course, Deft is a huge name, but so is Reckless, and we cannot underestimate Reckless. However, they have 2 very different roles for their respective teams. We see Reckless as an AD carry who usually plays more utility-based champions like Sivir. We saw the AD Kennen last week. That was awesome. But it's still a champion that gives a lot of utility for the team. Whereas Deft, his job is to be the hard carry, the main carry. They put their carry eggs in the Deft basket. So 2 very different bot lanes here in what they want to achieve in the laning phase. And also looking at what the rest of the team wants to do. Deft is a very competent carry, and the team around him really works to get him into a position where he can carry. Whereas Reckless is a player who works to get his teammates into positions where they can really carry for the most of the times. So that will be a really interesting matchup, and see how that plays out. Fnatic, if we look at the LCS summer split, Fnatic has had quite a few games where they actually lost the laning phase, or got behind in lane in the early to mid game, and then just farmed and kept up and did their job when the team grouped up, and that's where Fnatic is the strongest. So we've moved to the mid lane then. We got Pawn, also a very good player. You know, that's the thing with these teams. We got good players pretty much all around. Pawn is very, very good, and he's one of the big threats on the EDG lineup on the side of Deft. However, if we look at his counterpart on Fnatic, we have Febvin, who I believe not only is he the strongest player on Fnatic in this tournament, I think he's one of the strongest mid laners in the entire tournament. For the entire week 1, where Fnatic was so-and-so, he played extraordinarily well. And in week 2, he kept playing extraordinarily well, and in the game against HQ especially, he turned that game around. A huge Baron steal, very important, and then that late game team fight in Fnatic's base, that was just crazy. I mean, Febvin won that game. Febvin secured first seed from the groups for Fnatic. There's no way around that in that game against AHQ. I think Fnatic is, Febvin is one of the biggest threats that Fnatic has right now, considering the form that he's in. And I think he'll be able to handle Pawn in that mid lane. So moving up to the jungle, we have Clearlove and Reignover, and going into Worlds, people were talking about Clearlove as one of the best junglers in the world. And they were talking about Reignover as one of the weaker links in Fnatic. People have been questioning his champion pool and the size of it. People are saying that he has a predictable jungle pathing. But if we look at Worlds, yeah, sure. In that week 1, all of Fnatic except Febvin had some mistakes, but I mean, Reignover has been playing really well in this tournament, and he's been snowballing his lanes for the team extraordinarily well. He works in every lane all the time. I've been talking about this before. Don't give Reignover any hassle. He's much better than a lot of people give him credit for, and he plays a pivotal role in all of the success that Fnatic has had. And Clearlove, he's been looking, well, not great. I think this is a lane or a role where Fnatic really has the upper hand, actually. I think Reignover has showed much stronger performances than Clearlove have, and much better synergy with all of his laners. Really good synergy with Yellow Star roaming together. He's really good at ganking both mid lane and bot lane. We know since long ago that he has a really good synergy with Huni and really knows how to get him rolling early on. So yeah, I think Reignover will take the jungle matchup. That's what I think. And then top lane. When I thought about what I was going to say about this matchup, it was that top lane we have Huni, holo, versus Amazing J, who has been anything else than amazing this tournament. He's not played well at all. And EDG has recognized this fact, and they have subbed him out for Carl 1. Carl 1 or Koroy, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the top laner that was with EDG when they won MSI is now back on the starting lineup. Yeah, not that that top lane matchup that I was prepared for, but we have seen some problems in EDG's top lane. And I think we're going to keep seeing those problems because, yeah, they changed their top laner, right? But this new old top laner, he's not had a lot of time to prepare. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if Clearlove can get a better synergy with this top laner than he's had with Amazing J, and if Korra can step up and bring it to just come out with not a lot of preparation and yeah, some practice. I don't know, maybe he's practiced a lot with the team all during the tournament, but there's a big difference between practice and the real thing, and he's been away from the real thing with the rest of this team for a long time. So I still think that we are gonna have a favorable matchup in the top lane for Fnatic and Huni. And Huni did really step up in week 2 compared to his performance in week 1. So he's looking to go the right way. With that said, no surprise here, I think Fnatic is gonna bring it home. And I see a lot of people agreeing with me when we talk about this matchup. A lot of analysts, a lot of experts, just the community overall seems to put Fnatic ahead. Now, we don't want to jinx anything, but I think things are looking good, and I think if we have a good day tomorrow, we could even take this in a 3-1. That would be very, very nice to not have to take this series to 5 games. And just get this out of the way and move on to beating KT, who are the most likely opponents in the semifinals. So yeah, EDG tomorrow, then in the semis probably KT, and in the finals probably SKT. I really would think it'd be the coolest thing ever if Origin beat SKT and we got an all-European finals, but it's not very likely. It would be very cool, but it's not very likely. So yeah, go Fnatic. Road to Gold 9. I don't have much more to say about this. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to take some time later and look at the SKT HQ games that I haven't had time to see yet. So that'll be fun. If you enjoyed watching this video, do what you do to all videos you enjoy and like it. Subscribe to the channel, please. Leave some comments. Connect with us on Twitter or Facebook, you see up there. And yeah, tell me what you think. How hard do you think Fnatic will beat EDG? So without further ado, I tip the ball a cap, and I'll see you next time. Pays out, games.